Hello and welcome to another tutorial here by Frantonio. Today's tutorial is we have a little bit of fun with CSS and some JavaScript. I show you here that is the finished project we're going to do today. Like it says here, we have a multi-line typing text. CSS and JavaScript. We are not going to put any specific JavaScript in an extra file. It's just going to be inside the HTML. Then we're going to have a navigation bar with a gradient, a fixed gradient, yeah. And we're going to have another navigation bar with a gradient changing on hover, as you can see here, yeah. And we're going to make a pop-up window. So let me see what is happening with the first part here. Let me start here with the multi-line. If I refresh the page here, you can see duck it starts writing out all the lines, and you can put as many text you want in there. And of course, then we're going to style it with CSS, but you can use your own styling whatsoever and use your own fonts. I'm just showing you how you can set something like that up. The next one, of course, is then the navigation bar, yeah. And then down here we have done a pop-up window, and if you see, if I click on here, tuck, pops up the window, and that is got not JavaScript, just pure CSS and HTML, and then I can close it. So, okay then. So let us get started. And also this is oops, sorry, but anyway, what I want to show you is that this is also fully responsive. See, if I get under a certain width, and my navigation bar is they're fully responsive, yeah. And also my other navigation bar is fully responsive, and also the pop-up window is fully responsive, as you can see. Okay then, so let's start then. You guys, you know, I told you I'm a very slow typer, so, and to not make this tutorial too long and too boring for you, I'll have here the full script in HTML, as you can see, and I'm having also the full CSS file already all set up. So as you can see here, now I'll explain you exactly how I did it and what so on. And you know, you just post a video and copy down code. The lorem ipsum, you can get it from if you Google lorem ipsum up, you will see there's many sites which generate a lorem ipsum, or you can put in your own text, you know. But anyway, so of course, as always, you know, you start with the doc type, and then we start with the HTML. We give them the language we are going to use. In this case, it's English. And then we start with the head. You can see here, what I always do is I like to put a notation for myself. So if something is going on or whatsoever, it's much easier to find out where I'm going wrong. So we got our head, we got our usually metadata. Then I have here a fav icon. Fav icon doesn't need to be actually an icon. It can be also PNG, like you see here, and this would be this FS here. Yeah, that is the fav icon. Then, like usually, I have my bootstrap CSS, my main CSS, Um, and yeah, my fonts, my font awesome, and my lightbox. I keep this always inside just in case if I want to put images on or I want to change something, and that would, yeah, that would be it. So let's keep going on. So anyway, I just noticed I had the wrong style sheet open. That was a style sheet from this index HTML here. But this is the actually style sheet we are going to use. I named it CSS Fun, and you can see also in here in the doc type in the link here on the style sheet here. I reference it here in my CSS folder. So what I usually like to do is I keep all my projects in a folder. My folder I set them up with. Let me show you exactly what I mean here. Let me open my file explorer, and that is here. You know, I got it on my desktop. Got it on my desktop, and here you go. YouTube tutorials, CSS Fun. So as you can see here, that is the folder I've organized. So I got a main folder where I put for project I'm working on it. Then I got my CSS, where I got all my bootstrap in there, my lightbox, and all what I need on the CSS. I got images. Even if I don't use it, I keep it in there. When I upload it then to the site, of course, I'm going to take it away, but I like to be organized in that way. Um, and then, of course, I got my my JavaScript files. Yes. And then, of course, you know, my HTML files. So that's the way I organize myself. So to keep it always nice and neat. Okay, then. Now let's go on. So anyway, we went through the head now, yeah, and then here you see I put again end of the head, and now I start my body. So in my body, the first line I made here was the H1 CSS Fun, which is this what you see here. Then I got the HR line, which you see here, which we're going to style later on in CSS. And then I got my H2 here, the description of the multi-line typing text, and so on. Then after that I got another HR line, which is this one. And now I started with my script. So I keep that there, so you got enough time there to check it out and you know, copy down whatever I did here. So first of all, I start off with a div with an ID, and I give an ID of my typing text. You can name it whatever you want, yeah. And then I start my script. So in my script, I put a variable where I'm going to in that variable that's going to be the string, which means that is the text which is going to be shown. The text needs to be in open and closed what I call it again. I can't remember the name now. Anyway, they need to be within these brackets here. Yeah. So the next thing down there, then we got another variable, which is my array, which is an array, and my array is equal my string, which is this text here. And then I'm going to split that string with a character. So practically a blank character. So practically that is why it makes it reading one character at a time. Yeah. And the next variable down there is a loop timer. So that checks out if all the text has been finished and whatsoever. And then we start our function. So the function, which is the name of frame looper, yeah, I don't need to identify nothing in here. And then within brackets, yeah, I start my function. So the function here in this way is going to be an if and else function. And what it says here, if my array length, the length of the array, is greater than 0, yeah, then we call up the document, get the element by ID, which is my typing text, which is this ID we set up on the top here. Oops, let me go down a little bit. So that one we can call in, and then we're going to give this, we're going to send it to the inner HTML plus equals. A plus means when I give a plus here, there it keeps counting. One more, plus equals my array, and then we're going to shift practically this letters here, we're going to shift them. Yeah. So else, I mean, once it's done, yeah, then we clear the timeout. We make a clear we make a clear timeout, and we stop the function loop timer. Yeah. And else if there's any error, then return false. So the loop timer then is down here. The loop timer now is the speed practically which we want to set up for this text to appear. So I set the loop timer equals a set timeout, the frame looper, which is the function, yeah, and then the 10 here, that is the speed. The lower the speed here, yeah, the faster it writes. The higher, the slower. Let me show you an example here. Let me put this one instead of 10. Let me put it to 90. Example, yeah. So and if I save this one now, you see now the text starts writing, but much slower. So that's up to you, depending on your text. You know, if you got a long text, I wouldn't recommend to keep it at a 90 because otherwise people are going to get bored. If you got a small text, yeah, sure, put it on 90, put it even higher. Depends what actually is what you want to do with it. So anyway, I put this one back to 10, and I make a resave. And now I see it goes much faster. I mean, I can't even make it even faster. If I put it to 1, it's going to go like a machine gun. So and then the last thing after we finish here our function, yeah, we have to call this function frame looper, and that's what we're doing down here. So we call up the frame looper, yeah, and then that's the end of the script. So that's all you need to do. Also, it was not that difficult, very easy to make. You know, play around with it, and see what you can come up with. So let's go back to our next thing. The next one is this navigation bar here. Let me enlarge it a little bit. So we can see it better. So this is just it's a fixed navigation bar. The gradient, I mean, is fixed. Yeah, you see, nothing happens. Only the links they change the color. Yeah. That one also is very easy. Yeah. So here again, I made a after I finished my script here. I mean my typing text. I have inserted a new HR, given a H2, where I put the title, and then the description of the title. And I close this one again with an HR. The H2 and the P tag, we are going, and the HR tag, we're going to do them later on in CSS Fun. I mean in the CSS in the CSS styles. So anyway, let me see if I can get this whole. Yeah, there we go. So then, of course, then I start my navigation. Like here again, I put my navigation. Yeah, I put here one because I'm making two of them. And so I start off the navigation with a nav. Give it a class of navbar. Then a navbar expand md. So that is when you can see that the navbar expanded and whatsoever. I make it then the navbar normal color. I make it dark, but then I give them a background, a custom background, which I called in this case number 2, because we get two, a 1 and a 2. A 1 is you see it later in the CSS. The 1 is for so that we have the white text, yeah, and the 2 is then so we have this, that we get this gradient up there. So after we made that, yeah, I mean, I had put in here also a logo, but I didn't like it so much, so I skipped this one. So you don't really need to. You can do it if you want to. You can see this part here, which has been grayed out. Yeah, you could copy that one too. Make sure that you make a PNG, a logo one PNG, like I called it here. But don't make this logo too big. I wouldn't make it more than maybe 80 or 100 pixel, and if possible square. That would be perfect. But anyway, I leave that one. I leave this part up to you. So the next thing what we do is the buttons. Yeah, the button is that would be the button when I close, when I shrink this one down. Yeah, that would be this button here. Yeah. So that has a class of navbar toggler, because you know he opens and he closes the navigation bar. It's a type of button. It's a data toggler, so it toggles. Yeah, it collapses and retracts it automatically. So then a data target, which I have to give him an ID of navbar responsive, because it's going to be responsive, this navigation bar. And then in the span, I put another, then I have a span. In the span, I put a class also of navbar toggler icon, which is this icon here. Yeah. And then I close my button. After I finish my button, we open now the menu bar. Practically, when I click up here, all these ones here. Yeah. So I start off with a class of a div with a class of collapse navbar collapse, and ID is the navbar responsive. Yeah. So that means practically when the navigation bar is in this state here on a smaller screen or whatsoever, then I have this toggler here, collapse navbar collapse. Yeah, when I click on it, so and okay, and it shows me then the menu up here. So then I start uh, an UL tag, which is unlisted, what's it called? Which is yeah, there is here unordered list. So now I got a name back, and then in the with a class of navigation navbar nav, yeah, which is the navbar up here, yeah, and we make this ML auto, margin left auto, practically what it means. So then we started the lists inside this unordered list, and we give them a class of navigation item. Then we make an A tag, yeah, with a class of navigation link, which will then link us to the pages in the website. And here in the first one, where I got my home here, I put a link, a reference link, yeah, to the index HTML. So that means every time I press the home button inside here, as you can see, I will go up on the top of the page, and everything is going to restart. And so we have then, and that is the end of the first list. And then, of course, you got the other list, you know, same thing, same procedure, same classes, everything is the same. The only thing is we change the references. Here, example, if you have an about page, you would put in the link for the about page. You would put in for the news page, and so on and so on and so on. So practically, that is all what you need to do for the navigation bar 1. Now, the navigation, then we have the second navigation bar. Yeah. We have the second navigation. Oops. Why am I on the wrong file here? I got the. Let me go back here. Here we go. So, sorry, I was on the wrong page here. So then, of course, we have the second navigation bar, which is the same as the one above. Same thing, same class. The only thing which changes here is that the second. Let me finish this thing here. So now it's finished. So the only thing is what changes here on this navigation bar is that when I hover over it, you know, we change practically the gradient, and that is in this BG custom 3 assigned. Yeah. And so so that we don't have any descriptions or errors in case if we run this, we also need to change. It's the same, so you can copy and paste this one. Yeah, the second navigation bar. Just make sure that you give in the navigation class, you change the navbar to 1. The background custom, which is the color, you know, to 3. The rest stays the same. And then you have to change also the ID here for navbar responsive, which was navbar responsive. You have to put the navbar responsive 1. Just put the 1 on the back there. And the same thing you have to do also in the list, where we have the navigation item. If you see up here, navigation item, just navigation item here, navigation item also have a 1 behind, because otherwise it conflicts with the first navigation bar which we have on top. I mean, usually you don't have 2 navigation bar on the side, but anyway. So it took me a while to figure it out. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? But anyway, I got it. So then now, and here's again is my end of my navigation 2, and then we start here the pop-up window. So pop-up window is also, it's not that difficult to make actually, but anyway, let me show you. So of course then we have after the navigation bar, the second navigation bar is finished, we have an HR tag again. Then we have H1 pop-up windows. We have the title and then we have the title, and then again a HR. And under the HR we have an H3, and which is this text here. Pop-up modal windows without JavaScript, yeah. And then we start to make the box here. So give it a div class of box. We give it a reference in the button because we got a button here. We give it a reference of a button, which we call pop-up1. Yeah. And we put in a title. Click me if you dare. You can put in whatever you want in here. So, and that would be the div here for the box. That's all what we need. Now we have to make the for the pop-up1. Yeah. We have to give it that window which we see when we click up here. You see, dark. So that would be then the div of an idea pop-up one, which we reference here in the button class. Yeah, and we make it a class of overlay. We give it then we give it the pop-up. We give it then in the pop-up one, we give it another class of a div with a class of pop-up. That means it's been popped up, and we give it the h4 a reference. That would be the title. I'm a modal window, which you can see here, and then we give it a class of close with no reference, and we give them this is it's a variable name times, yeah, which means that when I click on here, that would be that href, yeah, so that it will close then this button. Then of course we need a content, which is this part here, and we just put a div class on with content, and we write in thank you for freeing me out of the button. I'm free, so you can close this window. Close all our div and put another hr on the bottom, and that would be the end of our htr or of our html. So I'm back. Sorry, I had a phone call to make. Anyway, so so practically that's all what we have to do in HTML. And as you can see down here, I still have then, I call in all my scripts, like my jQuery, my Bootstrap, other scripts which I'm using, and preloader script, which is actually I don't really need those two in here. I got them in here because they're actually 4 different projects where I'm going to show you later. And then here we have the end of the body and the end of the doc type. So let me close this one now here. So now let us go into the styling. Okay, so this is my styling sheet for this project. I started off with importing the fonts which I'm using in here, which is called Philosopher, and then I set up my body. I make my body a background color, which is this background we say here. The font family which I'm using is Philosopher, and in case if there would be anything, then it would it would give me a script in or a font in sans serifs. Yeah. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make style the H1 here. Yeah. Which I given a margin top of 40 pixels, so it comes down 40 pixels down. Given a color, I use honeydew here. You can use any color you want. I align the text align is in center, and I give it another margin bottom of another 40 pixels. So that means between the top and the bottom here from the HR, I got 40 pixels. So next is the styling the HR. As you can see, HR normally it's just a bar. That's it. So I found a way to style it because it was boring. And I always said, how can you do something a little bit more better? I mean, so anyway, after working around a little bit and trial and error, I came up with this styling here for my HR lines. So I give it a margin top of 40 pixels, yeah, a height of 2 pixels, a border width of 0, and a width of 75%. So it means if I expand the side now here, it will always have the 75% of the screen it would use. Then I give it a background color of a light gray. As you can see when I move over my cursor on the colors, you see where I am. I'm right up here, yeah. And then now I give it a gradient, linear gradient to the background again, and that gives this effect. So my linear gradient is at a 90 degree, which means it goes from left to right. Yeah, 180 degree would be from top to bottom, and so on. As you know a little bit about degrees, how it works. Yeah. So then the first one, I give it a white color. Yeah, but an RGBA, which means it's a white color with zero opacity, meaning that the entire is non-existent. It's a zero. You cannot see it. Yeah, and I put this one at the beginning of the gradient. The linear gradient is, you can divide the linear gradient, let's say like that. It starts from 0, it goes to 100. And in between, you can put then points where you want certain colors to be displayed. Yeah. In this case here, I have only three. I give them only three references. On the beginning is a 0. Then on the end is at 100% is a I have another the same color as the first one, this white here, yeah, same RGBA as you can see, and then in the middle I give it this light gray color, which I put at 50%. So I always use an RGBA. That is the color I'm using. You can change this color as you like. It's up to you. Important is that on the end here you give it a 1. Opacity in CSS works by 0 to 1. Or it's not there or it's there. You can even go lower. You can put 0.5 if you want, or 0.6. That's up to you. But it needs to be between 0 and a 1. Okay? So, and that is how this gradient has been made on this HR. And then I'll give it another a margin bottom of 40% for the next part of um, the element which is coming afterwards. The next one I have is the H2 text here. Yeah. So that one also I give a margin top 30, so that is not attached to the HR here, and I give the same margin on the bottom also, so it's right in between there. I give it the color, which I used honeydew, and like I said, you can use any color you want, and a text align in your line, the text in the center. Then what we have here, we have a P, a paragraph, yeah, which is this one here. So the paragraph again is just text align center, and I give it a color of ivory. Like I said, you can give it any color you want. And then we got an H3 again, which is this one here. That is the H3. Yeah. So the H3 is again a margin of top 30 pixels, a color of honeydew, text align center, margin bottom 30%, 30 pixel. Sorry, same like here. There you got 30% there. So now let's go back here to the text here which we did, which is in the HTML. If you go look at there, that would be here my typing text. Yeah. So that's an ID. So you start up with a hash, and then you give typing text, open your brackets, and now that is how we're going to style this text here. So I made a text align justify. You can do make center, you can do left, you can do right, whatever. Justify looks good here because there is quite a bit of text. Then I give where the text is written on it, this border here around it, as you can see. That I made that one the background color of black, and I give it a margin left and right of 10%. Yeah. So that means that between the text here, between the text on the left side and on the right side, always 10%, regardless now how big my screen is. Then the width I made auto and the height I made auto. Again the width and the height. The height is auto because I don't know how much text is going to be in there. If I only got 2 lines of text, then it will be showing only the 2 lines of text. Yeah, and it's not going to go further down. The really black background there. You can adjust them also if you want to, if you know the exact height and whatsoever. You can play around here with the height. I wouldn't play if you want to make it responsive. I wouldn't play with the width. You can adjust also width. You can say, example, okay, I want this baby just I don't know, 300 pixel. Just put in here 300 pixel. The height also I only want to be 300 pixel. You got a width and a height of 300 pixel. The only problem is that if you go to look at then on a smartphone or whatsoever, on a smaller device, it'll be always that same. It will be always that same size, and then you have to scroll left and right to see actually its text. So then I'm given a padding of 12 pixels, and I give them a color, which is this green color here. Yeah, which is a 32550. The font family I'm using is the same like this font family here, which we called up on the top with our import. Yeah, and I give the font size a size. I put 16 pixel, which would be actually 1 rem. Yeah, so I can put in there 1 rem. If you want to change nothing, it's the same thing. So you can play around with pixels or with rem. And then I give them a line height of 1.5 here, or a line height of 1.5 em. That means between each line of text I got a certain amount. Let's say example, I make this one now 2.5. Yeah, let me save it. See now the text how it changed. Yeah. So that's up to you what you want to do. So let me go back to 1.5. Let me save it, and the same is by the text. I got 16 pics. Let me put in here now 2 rem. Just to show you, you know how it works. Let me save it. See now, the text is much bigger. Okay, now let me do like this. Let me put 1 rem. And you see the text is there, and it's the same as if I would leave it here now at 16 pixel. It's up to you now which way you want it. So as long as you understand how to change this sizes here. Okay then. Now that we got our multi-line typing text done with, let me go down here to the first navigation bar. So first thing we do, we select the items, navigation items. Yeah, we give it a color of white, and you have to make sure that it's important here, because otherwise it's always going to stay white. If you don't, you might get some errors. Yeah. Then of course the cursor, a pointer, which you see where when I go over. See, when I'm not over, it's like this. When I go over the link, it gives me this pointed finger. Then I'm gonna give it a text shadow. The reason I give them a text shadow, you see it in this part here, services, news. Since it's pretty light green here, so when I go over, when I'm not over it, yeah, if it would be just that normal color white, then it doesn't look so nice. So I put in a little bit of shadow, yeah, and you can see it, especially when I go over here. Here you don't see so much, neither here, but here you can see it very clearly. You know how it changes. And I give him three different shadows. So I give him a text shadow of 0 pix, 4 pix, and 3 pix. Yeah, with an RGBA of black and a 0.04 transparency or opacity. That's why I told you before, your transparency works between, or opacity works between 0 and 1, but you can have different options in here. So different how you say, different intensity of the shutter you want to have. So, and that would be a light shadow. That would be the light. That would be like the spread shadow down there. It's a little bit difficult to see like that. Then the next one, uh, no, I mean that would be around the text. Sorry, the first line is around the text. The second one is about the spread. Yeah, the first spread we have, the intensity, which is 0 pix, 8 pix, and 13 pix. Yeah, and here again an RGBA of black and a zero point 0.1, so very, very, very low. Yeah, you can intensify this one. Let me check out if I make this one 0.8, and I save it. See, now the text is completely different. Yeah, and let me put this one also at 0.8 and save it. Look at the text now. You see, it's much denser. Can even leave it like that. It looks much better. You see the spread, and you see more of the spread down there, especially when it's on the white. You see the services under there. Yeah. So, and the last one again is 0 pixel, 18 pix by 23 pix. Yeah, same color. And that's again is a different spread again. Shadow. If I make it 1 pix by 1 pix and that's it, then that's it. I'm not going to have any, just going to have a little bit of black text around it, which is not so easy, doesn't look so good. So that's the reason I came up with this different shades here of spread around, how you say, around the text. Yeah. So then, of course, the navigation item is the hover, which makes it this color red. So when I go over it, see, the color turns from white to red. And again, just put the cursor to pointer. So next bar is the navigation bar by itself. So I made a navigation bar, the whole bar. I made it on a width of 80%, so that it doesn't if I don't put a width there, then it would go from the very left of your page to the left to the right of your page. I want this one to be centered a little bit more. I think it looks nicer, but I mean, I leave it up to you. And then of course, if I make it a width of 80, because if I only make it a width of 80, then that means the left hand side of the navigation bar would be completely against the left hand side of the side, and then in the back it would be a space. So to compensate for that, I give it a margin left of 10%. Yeah. So I got 80 plus 10%. So that means I'm using 90% of the page here. And if I enlarge this one here, as you can see, back, you see it all stays nice and inside there. Okay, now next one. Now we got the navigation bar, yeah, and I gave it a height of a minimum height of 80. So if I don't, if I take away this min height, let me show you what happens here, no? So let me start to this and this. Now, and if I save it, look what happened to my navigation bar. You see how it got so small? Okay. Who likes it can keep it like that. I prefer that a little bit bigger. Yeah, I mean, even if I slow move it down, I mean, I'm still going to have the same thing, but only it's going to be smaller, a thinner navigation bar. So I keep my one up by 80, like I had it before. Save, and there we go. Okay, next. And then I give it I got a background custom one color, which is background color, which is like a pinky color here, as you can see. Yeah, I mean you can use any color you want actually. But I need that one to adjust then the custom to adjust the second custom color here, which is again a linear gradient. But if you look at this here, we got here in the custom one, we got a background color. Yeah. So in the gradient which we have here, we don't have a background color. We have a background image. So because that then is here considered like an image, and and I give them this linear gradient here at 180 degrees, so from top to bottom. So at my first, so I start up with this dark green. And I put the first point, my ending point, to, so it starts from 0 to 45% of the bar is going to be that dark green. Then to give it this gradient in between here, I go this color here, yeah, and I put this one down from that 45%, which we end the dark color, going all the way down to 75%. Yeah, so it would be until down here, and then the remainder, which is what, 25%, we give it again the same dark color as we have previously here, and that's it. So that is how you make a gradient. So then of course, the navigation bar, the LI list, we give a padding right of 20 pixels. The navigation link, we get a font size of 1.1 em, yeah, and a margin left of 10 pixels, meaning that when I switch down, let me show you, when I go down to this one here, yeah, See, I got this margin left here of 10 pixels. You know, if you want it to the left, if you want it to the center, you can put center here. Margin center, yeah, or margin right, yeah. That's up to you. And then of course we have an active, which means that the site we are on at the moment, that would be the active site, yeah. And that is all to the first navigation bar. Now let's go down to the next navigation bar, which is this one here, where we got this hover effect. So it is more or less the same as the first one, only that this time, remember, in HTML we changed the navigation item to 1 and the navbar to 1, and then we had background custom 2 and background custom 3. Yeah. So there again, you know, on hover we want this to be white. Yeah. Yeah, that's white. Yeah. And then just put the cursor pointer to, so if I go over here, you know, actually no, it's not white. Why do I have no, navigation item 1, yeah, navigation item 1 here, sorry. We give it a text color of yellow, you can see, yeah. And when I hover over it, sorry, my mistake here, then I change it to white. And I gave him again, yeah, the same width margin left and min height as one of above, and outer height and the padding to 0. So outer height means, you know, is going to let me come all down. If I don't put outer height, then it will always stay at this min height of 80 pixels, and that wouldn't look good. And then for the backgrounds here again, you know, I put in here back custom 2, which is the same pink color as we had on the first navigation bar. The only things we're changing now is we have the same background custom 3 here, which over there was background custom 2. We got the same gradient as you can see, which is also here. Background image, linear image, 180 degrees. Again, the dark green, the light green, and the dark green again. The dark green started from 0 to 45. The light green started from 46 to 75, and the dark green and the dark again started from 76 all the way to 100. The only things I changed here now is I gave it to this background custom 3. I gave it also a hover effect. So, and that's why it makes this one when I hover it over. The only thing I did here is practically I took the same linear gradient, but I inverted it. You see here I got 180 degrees. Here I got 0 degrees. So that when I go over, practically it switches. From the 180 it switches up to 0. I hope you get what I mean by this, you know. So practically it's the same gradient, the only thing I flipped it over. Nothing else. So very, very easy to do. Then of course again we got our navigation navbar link list, you know, give it a padding, the font size, the margins left, same like here, you see font size, margins left of 10 pixels, and again the active. Also more or less the same like the top one. The main changes here is only that we have this change of hover effect when we go over the navigation bar. Yeah. So next one. Now comes the fun. This is The next part here, let's see if I can get it all. No, it's a little bit too much. So let me start here from the box. That is this box here, which we have. The first box here. Yeah, not a button. The first box here. So that has a width of 40, a margin of 0 auto, a background color, which is this one here, white. Yeah, with a 0.2 transparency. That way you see it so light gray in here. It is white, but because of the transparency or the opacity being turned down, it looks like then I can see the background of the website here, of the site here. So I give it a padding of 35 pixels, a border of 2 pixels solid white, which is this border here you see around. Yeah. Then I give it a border radius of 20 divided, practically it's a 20 divided 50. Yeah, so it gives you a 1.4 of the percentage here. Yeah, if I so that means if I just keep this on let me show you what happens. Let me show you what happens if I just put it on 20 pixels. Oops, 20 pixels. Yeah. Okay, let me save it. See how it changed here? But now if I divide this one by 50 pixels like it was before, and I save it, and we look at it, you see that's the difference. Okay. So, okay, that is with the box. Next thing is the button. This button here. Okay. So we got a font size of 1 AM, padding of 8 pixels, color of white. Yeah. A border of 2 pixels, solid, with this green color here. A border radius now, again 20 by 50, same like above. Yeah, so it looks very nice inside there. Text decoration of none. A cursor as the pointer, which is, it changes to the finger on the hand with the finger, put it on it, and where are we? And then transition. I give it a transition of easy out of 0.3 seconds, so it doesn't change directly, it changes a little bit slower. If I increase this, for example, let me increase this one to 6, yeah, so, and I save it. When I go over it now, see, it takes a little bit longer time. Okay, that's up to you what you want to do here. Anyway, I have it 0.3. I leave it now on 6, and play around with the numbers. So then, of course, we got the button hover, and so when I hover over it, it changes to that screen. Yeah. And I think maybe I could put also in here, let me see, text decoration to none. Let me see if that works. Text decoration none. Text decoration. Text decoration. Decoration. Let's put it to none. Oops. Better writing is none. Text decoration none. Let me save it. See what happens. Yeah. And maybe we can change it. Since we are here, let me change also the font color. The color. We'll give it also this white color. So let's do like that, and we make a color of white. color, and we give a RGB. Where is it? Here, give the same color as here, white. Okay, let me save it again. Let's go back here, and you see now we got it. Okay, so it just added a little bonus there. So now we come to the keyword here, overlay, which we put up here in our HTML. If we go down here, we see we go into this class of overlay by the pop-up. Okay, that's where we are next. So the overlay is a fixed position. It's got the top of 0, bottom 0, left of 0, and right of 0. The background is a black background. It's a black background with a 0.7 0.07 opacity or transparency. Yeah. And then we have the transition opacity of 500 milliseconds. So visibility is hidden because it's hidden. It only comes up when I click on it. See, and that is this this opacity here. The transition takes about 500 of a milliseconds to come up. So it's not immediate. So, and of course the visibility is hidden until I don't give it the target which is coming up next. And opacity is 0, of course. Here now we have an overlay, and we go on to the target, which we also defined in the CSS. I think we have it here. Overlay pop-up. No, content. Sorry, no. The target. Yeah. Like when we put it, what's going to happen? What is going to happen to that overlay window which is coming up? First of all, it's going to be visible and opacity of 1. So 100% visible. Here opacity is 0. Here opacity is 1. And then the pop-up, which is this one here, yeah, it's got a margin of 800 pixel max, 800 pixel auto, and a padding of 20 pixels. Yeah, a background of white, a border radius of 5 pixels, as you can see here, small pixels, and a width of 30%. So it will only take 30% of the screen at a time, depending on the size of your, or naturally of your screen you have in. Position is relative, and we have a transition, of 5 seconds is in out. Yeah. Then in the pop-up we also have an H4, which is this one here. I give that a margin top of 0 and a color of this dark gray, let's say. You can give it here any color you want, if you want to. And excuse me a minute. So back. Next thing we're going to do is the pop-up close. The close is this one, this button here, you see. So there again we got a position of absolute. You always want it to be in the same position. Top 20 pixels, right 30 pixels. So, and we give it a small transition of 200 milliseconds. Once we hover over it, got a little bit of, it's not immediate, you see, it takes just a little bit, give it a font size of 30 pixels, a font weight of bold, text decoration of none, meaning that if I put the text decoration, if I don't put text decoration of none, like we had on previous year. Now you see this here, you see this blue line underneath it, and then I give it a color on on its normal state of dark gray, same like the text color in the pop-up on the H4 here. You see. So the next thing we do the pop-up close, the button close on hover. We just change it to this color here, to this light green color here. Yeah, and that's it. Now the pop-up content, give it a maximum height of 30 and an overflow of auto. Yeah, and that's it. That would be then this part here. Now then for as last we only need to give it a media screen, meaning that if it's if it's on a maximum of 70 pixels, then we want the box to be 70% and the pop-up width of 70%. Here you see, here we have it, the width, we have the width here, pop-up, we have a width of 30%, yeah, on a normal screen. On a smaller screen, we want it to be wider. If I keep it 30, if I don't put this one in 70, then it would be 30, would be always this 30%, which would be very, very small. So it doesn't make any sense. And yeah, that was it. So I hope you enjoyed it. And guys, please subscribe. Yeah. Leave your comments. I also recently just made a small intro tutorial for my channel. And like I say also in that intro, the first 100 people which subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment, they will get all my projects. On every project which I make, they will get the full, they will get from me a zip file with the way I set it up that particular tutorial. You got all the scripts in there ready for you to run, to change as you like. The only thing I don't supply in some of my tutorials when I use images and whatsoever, I don't supply those. The reason is while you know I use them for tutorials, so I always also give the links where I can find them, you know, and I don't use them for anything else, you know. So I will leave the links where you can get pictures for free, you know. Check always out the copyright, that you don't make any infringement, especially if you use it for your own website and whatsoever. I'm not using it for my own website, I'm using it only purpose for a tutorial, but I also always check if there's certain requirements for me to do it. When it says for personal use only, I use for personal use, which I do. And when it says I can use them for commercial purposes too, then okay, then go ahead. As long you have, you know, that image has been, it doesn't conflict with the copyrights. Okay, so like I said, you know, please subscribe and leave a comment, and I will see you within the next tutorial. Thank you very much, and I appreciate listening to me. I know I'm a little bit confused sometimes when I speak also, and you know, this time I made a tutorial. If you look my other tutorials, I typed in everything by myself and whatsoever, and it took, you know, a tutorial which I could have done would be this, like this one here, within an hour 30 minutes. It took me almost like 2 to 3 hours. So I don't want to do that no more. Coming up soon also, I will make a complete website. And when I say a complete website, I mean from A to Z. In many tutorials I saw on the web, they say full functional website. And what I show you, the landing page, then that's it. No links, no how the other sites look, and. I'm gonna make a tutorial. It's going to take a time. There might be more than just one video to finish it all, but I'm going to make it. If I have 5 links in there, I'm going to give you the 5 links and whatever. Yeah. So you can go. You can then change it to your will, put your own pictures in there, change your text in there, but that is going to be, it's like a template. It'll be ready for you to use. Yeah. You only need to put it up on the server. Okay then. Again, thank you very much for listening to me, and please subscribe and send me your comments. I will answer all your comments you sent me. Okay, thank you very much and have a wonderful day.